Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're brand new to my channel, then I do welcome you and I hope that you find my videos inspiring. My name is Erica. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I've been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for 7 years now, and I'm a Canadian Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, which means that if you live in Canada, then you are able to purchase the supplies that I use on my online store. And today I'm bringing you another fun fold. I'm really enjoying doing these fun fold videos. I've been doing them for pretty well this entire year. Every Friday I release a new fun fold video. And what fun folds are, they're cards that are outside the norm. Normal cards are scored in the middle, and they are either portrait style or landscape style. So by that I mean it's either this direction or the card is this direction. And so you just score your cardstock down the middle to get those styles. What fun folds do is they give a little bit of interactivity to the card, and often your recipient has to kind of figure out how to open the card, which is kind of fun, or you can include some directions. Some cards do need a little bit of a direction inside to figure out, like things like maybe belly band cards where you slide off the belly band to open the card, or it could be an easel card. How do they actually stand that card up? So they kind of are fun cards to make. This one is a fairly simple. There's this little band right here that just kind of flaps open, and then this opens up. Now I did this card in what we call monochromatic, which basically means, you know, pretty standard one color. Of course there is the Whisper White color within here, the base color in here, but it's mostly the Cherry Cobbler. So the card base is Cherry Cobbler, the DSP is Cherry Cobbler, and the inking is Cherry Cobbler. So that's considered a monochromatic card. So I'm going to show you how to make this today. I'm doing two colors this time. I'm going to do our beautiful shaded spruce as well as the Cherry Cobbler. This is the stamp set that I'm using. It's called Wrapped in Christmas. I selected this stamp set because it has some beautiful greetings in here for Christmas time. And I always love a circular greeting because they're great not only for cards, but they're great for gift tags as well. So Wrapped in Christmas. And then I'm using this 6x6 paper pack. This is called 'Tis the Season. So it gives you lots of Cherry Cobbler and shaded spruce colors throughout and different patterns. So this is a fun little paper pack to get for Christmas time. All right, so as usual, there is down below the video in the description, there is a link to my blog post where I put all of the cardstock cutting and scoring measurements, and a link back to the video as well for my subscribers to my blog so that they know where to find the video. And so I'm going to show you how to do this. So I'm going to use my paper trimmer today because I can both cut and score, which is what I need. So I'm going to pull this in here. And for those that are new to this trimmer, this to me is one of the best trimmers on the market. I just love it because it has both a cutting and a scoring blade in it as well. Okay, and it also has an arm that extends out, and it's got both metric and imperial measurements, because if you search and browse the internet, we have a lot of beautiful European Stampin' Up! Demonstrators that do absolutely gorgeous work, and often their measurements are in metric and they don't convert it to imperial. So having the trimmer in metric really helps you make those designs as well. So the first thing I want to do is I'm just going to score my card in half. This is 11 inches, so I want to score this at 5.5 to give me my center fold, which is just typical for all cards that you make, to make a center fold. And then in order to create the flap area, you see how the front of the card is shorter than the back of the card. So we're going to trim off 1¼ inches, and we're going to reserve that little extra piece for this little flap here. So I'm just going to move my cardstock. Now the beautiful thing about this trimmer is that there is quite a large area to the right of the scoring track, or cutting and scoring track, and so you can score up to 1½ inches on the side, this side. So sometimes it's just easier just to do your measurements on this side, or you can of course do your measurements over here on the left side. So I'm going to move this to 1¼ inches right here, Okay, or as I was saying, I could move this to 1 1/4 inches on this side, right like that, okay? And I'm actually going to cut that off. All right, so there's our extra piece. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a score, or sorry, a burnish. I've scored it. Now I'm going to bring in my bone folder, and I'm going to give this a good burnish. This is what that term is, burnishing, so that the card lies nice and flat, sorry. And this is the front of the card now that flips open, okay? And then here I've got my little piece here. And what I want to do is score this now at 1 inch. So I'm just going to bring back my trimmer, and I'm going to score this at 1 inch. So I'm going to move my blade to the top and bring up my little scoring blade. So, and then I'm going to fold that over. Now the key thing, you want to hide this piece here because you don't want it to wrap to the outside of the card here. So what you're going to do is, I've already pre-cut my Designer Series paper here. So this piece, this plaid reverse side, is going to sit here. And so I'm going to actually be tucking this underneath this DSP piece. Okay, now knowing where to put this depends on how big an embellishment you put on here. So I'm going to build the embellishment like I did on here. You see, I created this circle on here, and so it sort of is a guide then to see, you know, whereabouts on the height of the card do you want to put this flap, okay? So we'll just set that aside for a second, but what I can do right now is I can put my DSP together. So what I decided to do is I've cut this cherry cobbler layer for the front of the card here, and then I've cut the DSP, and the reverse is that plaid. So you can very often design a card by using both sides, or you can just pick another piece. So I'm going to glue these two together on here. I've left myself only 1/8 of an inch border. I like a tight border sometimes, okay? So I'm just going to pull out my Tombow glue here, and I'm going to just put, I don't go too close to the edges because when this flattens on the card, the glue will spread out. And Tombow on these, you know, when you cut 1/8 of an inch border, Tombow allows you to move the paper around to get really good even edges, okay? So that's why I like to use Tombow in this instance. Okay, so I'll just rub my finger to spread that glue out. All right, and then this is going to be glued to the front of my card, so I can go ahead and do that as well. I'm going to open my card so I can see where my score line is. Let's get that nicely centered here. Again, the Tombow glue allows me to move it around a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. Always remember, these are handmade cards. You create them with love, and so they don't have to be absolutely perfect. It's definitely the effort and the thought that counts. Okay, so there we've got the front of our card created. Now I've already pre-cut. I used the famous Circles Framelits. I absolutely love all of our dies that are circles, ovals, and squares, and we also have rectangles. We also have triangles as well. So lots of different dies that you can use, and these are straight cut and then a matching scallop cut. And I like to color mine so I know that this straight cut circle matches with this scalloped cut circle, okay? So that's, and I just use Sharpie markers to color them. It just helps me keep organized and find the one that I want. And many of these circles also match any punches that you happen to have. So I have a 1 1/2 inch punch here that I'm going to punch out my greeting with. This piece of Whisper White is for the inside of the card. So let me just grab another piece of Whisper White for creating my greeting. And I'm going to do this in the Shaded Spruce on top of the Cherry Cobbler. So I'm going to ink this up. I've already got ink on my finger here. Very dangerous to get, especially the dark inks. If you get that on your cardstock, it's impossible to get it off. So let's ink this up, and I'm going to stamp that on my Whisper White. I like to leave it for a couple of seconds just to let that ink sink into the cardstock to get a really nice crisp image. And then I'm going to take out my circle punch, and I'm going to punch this out. Like so, and then that fits nicely on top of my scallop. So I'm going to glue this on. And then again, the Tombow will let you slide that around to get a nice even edge. Okay. And then when I put this on this little band here, I'm going to mount that on a dimensional. Okay, so let's decorate the inside of our card. I always like to do my stamping or designing before I stick it in the card, just in case you have any bloopers. And then of course our Whisper White is fantastic because if you get bloopers on the front, you can flip it over and redo it on the back. So there's limited waste. So the greeting I'm pulling out here is friends and family are the truest gifts of Christmas. I love that. And then I pulled out this cute little, I don't know if you can see that, cute little embellishment to put into the corners like I did on the other card. So I'm going to use two colors. I think I'm going to do the greeting in the green. Do the greeting in the green. And I like to use my grid paper as a visual aid. I'm going to line up my paper here, and then I'm just going to eyeball where the greeting should be stamped and hope for the best. Okay, and then I'm going to take the Cherry Cobbler ink now. And I'm going to ink up this little stamp. Now, our stamp pads have a foam pad on here, and so you want to make sure you just do a what we call tap tap gentle. You don't want to sink this into the foam because you'll get ink all the way around the outside edges, and then if you accidentally, you know, rock that stamp on your paper, you're going to get extra bits that you don't want. So just be very careful how you tap that onto the ink pad. Okay, and I think that's all I want on there. And you can also embellish your envelope using this as well in the four corners if you wanted to. Now, if you're a brand new stamper, and if you're familiar with Stampin' Up, of course, we have this humongous annual catalog, and then we come out with a catalog for the fall holiday season, and then we come out with another catalog in the spring season, and it can be a little overwhelming. If you're brand new, I highly recommend that you look at our various kits that we have because it comes with everything that you need. Or I recommend that you pick a stamp set that you really like, typically one with images and then with some greetings. Always get yourself some Whisper White cardstock and then say 2 colors of cardstock and then some DSP. So you pick the DSP, which is our designer series paper, pick the colors that you like, and then pick 2 coordinating cardstock packs with Whisper White and then some envelopes and then the inks. And so you're kind of not spending you know, a large amount of money to get started. And we also have these note cards and envelopes that are perfect. They come in Whisper White and Very Vanilla, so you can start your card making with that as well. So you don't have to get too overwhelmed with the catalog. I know when you open it, you kind of think, oh gosh, I think I need everything, but of course we can't afford everything at once. So that's usually what I recommend that people do when they're starting out. And you can always get in touch with me and I can help you with some of your decision making. Okay, all right, so we've got the front of our card done, and now we're going to build up this sentiment here. So we're going to wrap this, as I said earlier, around this like that. And the first thing I want to do is I'm going to attach my greeting on here. So I'm going to pull out my dimensionals. And I'm trying to finish off some of my bits and bobs here. Let me just pull out my scissors. I tried to use the whole sheet. So I'm just going to pull out a couple of these. And put these. Now I should have put that. That was a mistake. I should put these on the sides because this overlaps the band, right? So you want to put your dimensionals on the sides here. So let me just pull another bit off here, and then I'll pull another bit off. So that's one side, and then there's the other side here. Okay, so I'm going to just take the backing off. Okay, and then I'm going to bring out my little band here, and I'm just going to center that on top, like so. Okay, so now I can look and see, you know, where do I want to put this band, and I kind of like it towards the bottom. So what we're going to do is we'll put a little bit of Tombow glue just on this flap here. Like so. And then you're going to wrap it around your belly band. Like so, okay? And then you're going to put Tombow on the Designer Series paper here and on the flap. And then you're going to glue this to this piece here. Try and match up the edges of your Designer Series paper. And again, that lovely Tombow glue will let you slide it around a little bit if you need to. Okay, and then we'll just hold that down. So you see, once you know the mechanics of the card, it's fairly simple to put together. Okay. So there you have a nice clean back. There's no flap on the back, and it's tucked underneath the Designer Series paper there. Pretty simple. And then what I like to do is I'm just going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to fold or burnish this edge just to get that to lie as flat as possible. There we go. Okay, and now we're ready to put our greeting on the inside. So this is going to go in here like that. If you wanted to, you could do something on that flap as well, but I am not going to do that, just for the length of the video. And I just don't think it's necessary on this particular card. And then let's center this in here. Another little tip here is always check your fingers to make sure you don't have any ink on them before you start rubbing on your white cardstock here. Okay, and there's your card. Now, if you wanted to, you could put a few little embellishments of rhinestones or something on here. But this just makes for a very, very simple card. So I'll bring back the other one. So there you have them. So this with 2 colors, and this is with the 1 color. Very sweet card, I think, and fairly easy to make. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like it, then I would really appreciate a thumbs up. And if you'd like to be notified of when I release another video, then you can subscribe to my channel and then click the little bell. And I wish you a happy rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.